Retired by Choice. Retired by Choice is today's episode of the Ball Hog Sports Talk. And every time we start with the Center Court episode, we try to describe what the episode is all about. So today's episode, Retired by Choice, it's all about retirement. And over the years, whenever someone would find out that I played in NFL, they seem to always ask something like, when did you retire? Or why did you retire from the NFL? Let me make this plain and simple. I never chose to retire from the NFL. But retirement absolutely chose me. The truth of the matter is that most NFL players face the same type of retirement from football. And the same is true with the NBA, coaches, and most other professions. The same sort of forced retirement happens in entertainment and absolutely in business too. You know, when you get that email that such and such person has decided to move on, you wonder if such and such person actually made that decision to move on, or did they have the decision made for them? Very few of us dictate the terms of how we walk off into the sunset. However, what we do get to choose is the options that we provide for ourselves that lead to more choices beyond that particular employment, whether it's sports, entertainment, or just normal business. For example, going into my third training camp, I got that tap on the shoulder from the head coach, and he asked if I would play in NFL Europe, which was the equivalent of an NFL farm league way back in the day. I was able to say thanks, but no thanks, coach, because I had been studying for my LSAT and had made the decision already to go to law school. So I guess I sort of did retire. In the loosest sense of the term, I sort of did retire from the NFL. When retirement chooses us, as it often does in all of our lives, it will be our own choices that impact our ability to deal with it and move on successfully. Today's episode is going to be about that retirement by choice and the options that we have. Let's hop in. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw, so come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. Let's hop on in, y'all. You know what it is. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, here with the Big Flow Show. What up, Big Flow?
What's good, America? How y'all doing today?
You know what it is, man. It's another Friday, so we're going to hop on in, man. Today's episode, Retired by Choice. You know that you've seen in the corporate sector retirements when someone is escorted off the premises. And we've seen in sports retirement when the coach says, young man or young lady,
your services, please turn.
No longer need your services. So this Retired by Choice episode, we're gonna have a little fun, man, because it starts off with those who have gone fishing. The entire city of LA, the Clippers, and more recently, as of last night, the Lakers have gone
Clippers
fishing.
Still got a chance to. They still got one more outing, right?
No, it's over. It's over, Rocky. Save a little for the sequel. The sequel will be next year. They both are gone. The Clippers and the Lakers have officially retired by choice. The Clippers have another chance to win, but they are. I mean, they on fumes, man. So they went down 3-2. They had a chance.
They're not retirement, but Kawhi told LeBron to go and get the big boat so that he could come with them.
He's gonna have the boat right behind the Clippers. Well, maybe the crazier things have happened, and Lord knows that the Clippers gave up a 3-1 lead last year. So maybe they can turn the table and be on the right end of what they were on the wrong end of last year. But I don't think that they're gonna win. And as my man Cheeky Black says, the road teams have won all the games, but they just looked a little. They knew that
LeBron is thanking you right now for chewing on that. LeBron is thanking on you right now for chewing on it. Let's get to what happened, man.
Yeah, I know. Let's get to what happened.
Let's get to
and the only reason I'm doing it is because the Clippers have 2 stars versus basically 1. But that 1 star with Luka is a bad man. But you're right. In LA, the story is and shall be, even if the Clippers lose in Game 6, the story is going to be LeBron James. He done gone fishing
on a rowboat.
He has had a forced retirement. He did not retire by choice when it came to the season. He is now officially retired from the 2021 season. And it seems as though people are now talking about, does this lead us to the eventual picture, the foreshadowing of his other forced retirement, meaning that the end is near? I know that you are a Lakers fan by proxy because you cheer for whoever LeBron plays for.
I like LeBron. I do.
Is LeBron going to be playing for the AARP team in the near future? Is his forced retirement imminent? Did you pick that up from what you saw last night?
No, he still has plenty in the tank. I just think that
plenty. Now, what's plenty? Plenty is a relative term. Plenty as in, because plenty for him is
the light didn't come on
yet.
The light didn't come on yet. He's still cruising. Nobody has to pee. Nobody's hungry, so there's no reason to stop. He's riding along. He's not trying to time the next gas station. He's still good. That's plenty. But you know what? It's under the half, though. It's under the half. In the back of his mind, he's starting to say, okay, next time we stop, I'm going to pick up some Cheetos or something like, you know what I mean? M&Ms every time we're going to stop. But he's thinking about it, but I think he's still got a couple more seasons.
To be honest with you. Tell me why you think LeBron, I'm going to give you center stage here. Why is LeBron not done? As a LeBron fan, sell me on it. You got 2 minutes to sell me
LeBron,
on it.
Listen. You can criticize
because you're speaking on behalf of all LeBron fans now. Come on, let me know.
All right, man. I'm channeling my inner LeBron love. So he played hard the whole night. He went and he gave him all the minutes. You know what I'm saying? I think he took a little time off in the first quarter, but he went out there and gave you 41 strong minutes last night to try to fight to the end. He's playing by himself. I mean, those dudes, not to say those dudes are terrible, but for some reason they just didn't feel like they could win. LeBron can still go down low. He can still bang with you down low. He can still come fast break. He's still finishing. I remember towards the end, Jordan really wasn't finishing at the rim. LeBron still finishes and dunks on all the time. You still dunking the ball in transition. You're not taking layups. You're doing stuff. You still got something in the tank. He gets a couple more injuries than he used to, but LeBron has relatively been healthy his NBA career. Nothing really major, knock on wood. I don't think there's anything that's really going to hold him back. He takes care of his body. His problem is frustration. If there's anything that I think I worry about with him is his body language when he sees his tolerance for poor play by his teammates is getting so high that I don't know if mentally he could get spent. But physically, he still has plenty in the tank. Final answer.
Final answer. That's your final answer. I'm not sold, man. I am not sold. I saw something because retired has the word tired in it. Tired. He looked tired. And I'm just going to be honest with you, man. Sick and tired. Because not only is he physically the go-to man in terms of what they do on the court, but he's emotionally their go-to man. He handles all the pressure, answers all the questions. He is their go-to man. And I don't know, man. I didn't feel as though watching last night that there was much that he could do. The fact that he walked off the court in the previous game with 5 minutes left, down 30-something points. The fact that this game, he didn't shake hands and seemed to be checked out. Without AD, without a real good Robin to his Batman, or in this case, you could argue that he was the Robin to the Batman. I don't think that there's much left there in LA, and I don't know if he can change cities again and build something. So I think retirement by force is on its way. And good old Father Time, or whatever you want to call it, is undefeated.
What wouldn't you give up for LeBron James right now? Other than, like I said, the top 5 stars, Luka and all them. For you to say that, who would you not rather? I mean, who would you take over LeBron right now in your squad? Like, if you can get to your second hand, I'll be surprised. And all these first 5, I still think are biased. He's still the best option. You know, if he's not the best player in the NBA, it's still close. He's still in the conversation. So he's retiring, and for what? Retire for what?
For whatever. But I think certain players with a level of greatness don't. LeBron's never going to come off the bench.
No,
because what getting bounced in the first round for the first time ever. He's 14-1 in the first round for the first time ever since 2010. This is only the second time he hasn't been in the NBA Finals. They didn't make it to the playoffs for 2 years ago, 2019 in LA, but that was the first year. That was a transition year in LA. Other than that, we've seen him in the finals for 9 of those 10 years, which is amazing. Shouts out, hats off to him. But certain people don't transition well into what the next phase will be. And LeBron, with all his greatness and all his legacy on the line, I think is going to be, whether it be legacy induced or physically induced, is going to be forced into that retirement as well.
You got to remember, so like you mentioned, he played all the way to the finals in damn near every season in the NBA that you've seen in the last recent times. He just finished the finals. When was the championship? 2 weeks ago? The NBA Finals that he just won 3 weeks ago. When did he win an NBA championship? This past one, like 3-4 weeks ago. They just finished.
Feels like that sometimes.
Just finished.
I thought you said weeks. That's why I had to ask again.
That's what it feels like. I mean, we feel like he just had the finals not too long ago. So he played the most basketball in the NBA last year. Got to the finals, wins the championship. Yeah, he was hurt this year and he had to sit down. He took a little rest. I really think that's really what backfired on them, to be honest with you. I think they tried to play
72 instead of 82 games this year. I think the truth of the matter is that each year that 82 games is going to feel more and more like a burden on his body, and the offseason is going to feel shorter and shorter because, again, Father Time. I think we are starting to.
Well, now he's got some rest, so let's see what happens next year. He's taking a nap. He had to go. They gave him a nap. Uncle Tommy kind of tired. They took a nap, so he's gonna sit there and rest while everybody's working. Normally, he's been working all this time, all these years. Everybody playing 82 games. LeBron playing 120 games every year. He played the last one a long time, so this year he took a little break. I think first of all, I think AD is pudding soft. I don't want to put it all on AD, but he's pudding soft. He get hurt in every single game. AD come down with a win, something hurt, soft. I don't think he ever worked out in his life. He just got natural ability, but great basketball player, pudding soft, right? He pulled his groin. You can't even tell what happened when he pulled his groin. He's in so much excruciating pain. He come out, run, he jump again, excruciating pain. He's out so soft. So LeBron attitude sucks. He's a grumpy old man. He getting older. He grumpy old man. You know, when people come down there and mess up his pass or whatever, he sometimes don't get back on D. That really bothers me about LeBron. I think that's showing his age. But the man won't gonna win the championship anyway, right? So they're gonna get whooped by the Nets this year with Softy, man, Mr. Glass on his team, whatever. So I think they come back next year. I think maybe LeBron is in AD's ear, like, dude, you got to get in the gym. You got to work out. You got to be tougher than you are because you're soft as hell. And I think they come back next year, and they're my pick for to come out the West.
I think that AD messed around and probably hurt himself even more going out there for the 5 minutes that he did.
Ain't nothing wrong with him. Ain't nothing wrong with AD.
He looked horrible. But when AD is not on the court, they're not the same. Fair. No one is questioning that. But it is now it has been put out there in the universe such that in order for them to win, LeBron has to secure his new role as the number 2. And I think that that's about as deep as he can go. for his legacy, but also just the psychology of LeBron. The reason he left 5 minutes before the game was over, LeBron is, and this is not a LeBron dump on LeBron moment. I'm not gonna poo-poo on LeBron because he's done great things on the court, but he's also he likes to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
And so I think as low as he can go in terms of priority on your team or the expectations or the focus of the team, the lowest he's going to go is 2. The lowest he's going to go is 2. And so I think that we're seeing what's going to be a retirement that will not be by
Stop
choice.
saying it. There's no chance he's retiring. Zero chance he retires.
He's zero chance he retires next year.
Zero.
But we're getting closer and closer to his farewell tour.
He's 36. Of course.
36, but body is a lot older.
Yeah, body's a lot older, but he looked great for 36. The way he runs around. I mean, LeBron still plays a physical game. He still goes hard.
It was tough to watch him get not 1 but 2 layups blocked last night. It was tough to just see. The LeBron that has everyone intimidated is the one doing the blocking. He's the one running down Iguodala and blocking his shot. He's not the one getting a Crowder to block his shot. Two layups. I don't know if LeBron can handle the psychology of being anything lower than the number 2 man on that team. And so I think that there's going to be an unwritten rule that says, I got to move on. And I think we saw it getting very close last night. He looked tired. Again, tired being the emphasis of the word retired. He looked tired last night. And you can't keep putting a 36-year-old in a situation where he's playing that many minutes and you're depending on him that much to win games, because at 36, your body doesn't recover the way it did at 26. And that is for LeBron and anybody else that plays professional sports.
I think we're going too far. I think that just is a sign of his greatness. The man goes out in the first round. Look how many years Kobe played, and he didn't even make the playoffs. They were just trash, and he just kept playing and kept playing. They were complete trash for years. I feel like the scrutiny LeBron is under is unbelievable. We expect him to be the NBA Finals every single season, and if he doesn't, he's trash. He should give it up. It's amazing. No other NBA player has ever had the scrutiny that LeBron has had for that. If you think of the thing, he's been in the NBA for most,
Of course, other players have had the scrutiny of LeBron. There are things that are timing up now where it seems that way. We got recency bias too, because not only does LeBron have that elevated level of scrutiny because he is LeBron, but it's in a time where at your fingertips, every second that you blink, there's a notification about him because we're in this information age. There's a tweet that mentions LeBron, but LeBron is facing the same scrutiny that Kobe faced.
Nope.
That Mike faced.
Nope.
How not?
When the Lakers became trash, they just moved on with Kobe. They talked about how great he was and his team sucked, and we just moved on. You know what? LeBron helped Kobe though, because LeBron became so popular that the torch had been passed, so they it moved off into the sunset. LeBron's still so hot and still such in the conversation of the best. It definitely, let me say this. Let's compare the two. No way Kobe had the scrutiny that LeBron had under this.
I don't know how, man. The greats are supposed to have that
seasons?
scrutiny.
Somebody looked that up. How many seasons of Kobe's last seasons did he not make the playoffs?
But the difference is this. LeBron has brought on a little bit of that on himself because he has built the teams that he's moved around. The people that we are talking about.
He didn't know dude was made out of Twinkie filling. He didn't know that.
He had injuries. He had injuries before coming over to LA.
He did.
He got
me so mad. I'm not gonna lie. It's so soft. He's from Chicago too. It's so soft.
I don't think he's soft, man. Growing, you're not gonna go out there and play with no growing.
Man, every single game he get hurt a little bit. And you don't know if he's getting up. Name a game that he played where he didn't roll around on the ground holding something. And you're like, "Ooh, is he done?" Every single game. There's never a game. He either twists his ankle a little bit, he hurt his foot a little bit, he get hit in the eye. He never pops up, man. Drives me crazy. Get your big ass up, man.
He's in good company. None of them pop up. But with the legacy that LeBron has created for himself, And that is what the greats do. He has created a whole different level of expectation. And so LeBron is not compared to any of the other greats in the game right now. LeBron is compared only to LeBron. He's in a class of one when it comes to the scrutiny that he faces because, again, he is the man, the myth, the legend that is LeBron. And building these super teams comes with some consequences. It comes to scrutiny. And you look at their roster on paper. Now, I know that they were the 7th seed and you know, you're playing the 2 seed in Phoenix, but at the same time, on paper, when you look on paper,
man, Phoenix shooting so good last night. They beat anybody last night because I couldn't miss. I'm frustrated.
You are frustrated, and most LA fans, those real Laker fans, are.
You know what though? Here's why I'm not that frustrated. I just could, even with Mr. Glass, even if somehow LeBron would have. So this is where I will say about the young player. Luka puts the team on his back, and he can just drag you over the finish line by your face, just pull you and drag you across. LeBron doesn't have that anymore to that level. He shoots too many threes instead of going down there and banging. So his age is there, but I still think he still has enough in the tank. He's going to switch he's a new LeBron, but I do think he can come back. He got to have somebody with him at the end. I feel like the other guys on the team last night and the night before or the previous game didn't play as well they played before, which is weird. I don't know if it's because
Dennis Schroeder didn't play very well.
And Schroeder's been balling too, so that kind of threw me off a little bit.
KCP, they had a total of 0 points in their backcourt. Yes or no question with a yes or no answer. I can see you going to try to wiggle out of this.
Yes.
Can the LA Lakers win next year?
They will.
Now, is that your head talking or your heart talking?
I think they can. Mr. Glass going to get – I'm telling you, LeBron right now is on the phone.
He's going to get stronger by LA fans and the whole world calling him Mr. Glass. You think that's going to make him
He's going to start working out. I believe he doesn't work out. I believe
he gained so much weight since going to the NBA. They cannot win again. And so we'll see what that means overall for LeBron. But the greatness that he has created is, again, it puts him in a league of his own. But there are also this week, there are some other people, or at least one person that's in a league of his own that's also got this retirement thing being discussed. And that is Coach K.
No doubt.
Coach K has been amazing. And he announced this week that he's going to retire. I think, absolutely, slow clap for that man. Although I hate Duke.
2 more. 5 claps. That's what you get, Coach K.
Although I hate Duke,
you get 5 claps.
I got to respect what Coach K has done. He announced this week he's going to retire, but he's doing a farewell tour for a year. And I looked at his record. Since 1995, it was the first time this season, first time since 1995 that Duke didn't make the NCAA tournament. Since 1995, he's only had double-digit losing seasons 3 times. And it was always just 11 losses. And you look at his record over the years, it's impressive what he's done there. He was able to transition from being the program that recruits players and develops them and they stay until, at least junior year. He was able to transition to this new one and done world and win in that new world. My question to you is this. I know that Duke had a rough year. They opted out of a few of those games, which might have made them tournament eligible.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you is this. Is Coach K retiring because has the game just passed him on? Roy Williams announced a few months ago or very recently that he's retiring. He's not doing a farewell tour. He's out. It has the game just passed these coaches up. Now that you have the transfer portal where the player that you used to be able to, that 5-star that you used to be able to yell at and develop and make sure he grows under you and appreciates your coaching style. Well, that 5-star now has options. He's going to retire. Now that they have this proliferation of the G League, it's become a viable option that not only is Duke recruiting against the Michigan States and the North Carolinas of the world, Duke is literally recruiting against somebody going to make 6-figure salary in the NBA G League. is the timing such, and Coach K said yesterday it's got nothing to do with that he wants to spend time with his family. But anytime a coach that season says
that's the beloved excuse that
remember Coach Myers said, I want to spend more time with my family.
That's actually the excuse that makes you go,
yeah, more time with your family.
You
At this point, Coach,
your kids got to be groaning out the house.
75 years old.
Like, right. Where was all that desire when your kids needed it bottle when diapers was out there?
Right.
But,
and the truth of the matter is Duke basketball is his family. Yeah. Those coaches spend so much time breaking down film and recruiting.
His family goes to the games. He sees his family.
He sees his family. Hey,
somebody just mentioned the FBI investigation may be part of it. You know what? It could be. I never thought about that, to be honest with you. But if we're thinking about it, Duke has been pretty much. Have they ever had a scandal for basketball ever?
They've had a few scandals, not like many what? Though.
Anything of note?
Zion is a big one.
No. That's what I'm saying. Zion right now. That's what I'm saying.
They've had other recruiting questions.
I don't remember too many. Their kids pretty much act right. They've always had to be their do-gooder. Zion is the first time that you really are seeing some stuff.
It was made public just because Zion was so big, and there was this whole AAU component to it with the parents. But I know that all programs have come under scrutiny when it comes to recruiting violations, but Duke is not known for it. Duke is not.
Let's play it out though, right? Duke was 4-year guys staying here, play a 5th year. Bobby Hurley's winning with those kind of guys. Evan Shire, guys that just gritty, blah blah blah. That wasn't working anymore, right? So he's like, all right, I got to embrace the one and dones. That's not really his MO. He got more to quote.
But it worked too. It worked too.
What'd you say?
But it worked too when he did.
No, it worked. But now Coach K is getting out of his comfort zone. Now I need to try to get a goon. So now he tries to go get now he's trying to go get a Zion Williamson, the hot dude coming out of high school, the internet sensation. Now he's got to get his hands a little dirty, right? So he knows maybe they're paying him, and he's got to. Coach K probably 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you wouldn't really think that type of stuff is gonna be okay with him. And now he's dirty. His legacy about to go out the window. So I like a good conspiracy theory.
Again, we back to legacy. That. Retired by choice, question mark, exclamation point. Is the retirement because the legacy is under attack? Because look,
they say Corey Maggette got some bread too.
Yeah, but again, all NCAA programs, because the NCAA is still under this fake pretense of amateurism, at some point are under question whether or not someone is taking a bag or not. But I'm wondering whether or not he's got to retire, or Roy Williams. You look at Roy Williams and look at his win-loss record. These guys, man, they are the epitome of what I would think of the old guard, where they develop players. Roy Williams before UNC at Kansas still developed players. You look at the coaching tree, the people that have coached under Roy Williams and Coach K that have gone on to be successful. You look at the players that have played under Roy Williams and Coach K that have gone on to be successful, Hall of Famers in NBA. And yet these guys are deciding to retire now. And I think there is this pressure for the programs to also hire the young up-and-coming coach to connect with that recruit and bring in that recruit, because they've got to choose going to Duke, not over just going to other programs. They got to choose going to Duke over making a 6-figure salary in the G League. Mm-hmm. They've got to choose staying at Duke versus going in the transfer portal. I just think that maybe that these retirements are sort of forced because the game has passed them by. I'll give you the last word on it, man, before we move on.
I can see where you're coming from with that, forced in a not so direct matter. It's just kind of like, if you're great and you're used to being on top and you're not up for it anymore. And what I compare LeBron and Coach K with is, Coach K decided to opt out with COVID, kind of a punk move. Well, it's a punk move. Quit out there. He opted out. He lost some crossover games early to some lesser teams. He said, we're not going to play outside the conference. Some stuff that showed a little heart character. LeBron throwing his hands down and standing there while his team runs back on D or walking off the court. That's where you start seeing the chinks in the armor. Like, mentally, you don't have that killer fight to go and just scratch it out for the real ones will go scratch and bite your eyes out just for a jump ball, just for a loose ball. because they have that much fight in them. Now you start to see these guys who are great. They're starting to say that effort that's in front of me right now, it ain't worth it. I ain't trying to do that. So maybe you can say forced out, but
and then you
LeBron still
got
come back and win it.
And then you got to turn the page. And then you got to turn the page. So yes, it's by choice, but there's a hint, it's time to go. And it might not have been written out for Coach K. It might not have been written out. It probably was written out for Roy Williams because they've had 2 poor seasons back to back. So it was probably more of a nudge to Roy Williams, like it's time to go. But there's that feeling of I can't do it anymore. I can't get to the top of the mountain. Things have changed so much that I can't do it anymore. And I think Coach K, Roy Williams, and that old guard is seeing that. And those famous last words, want to spend more time with family. At 75 years old, come on, Coach K, stop playing with us, man. It brings us to another topic, though, because when I think of how things have changed, the things that have changed over the last 18 to 24 months, we've been on a roller coaster ride. We saw that the March Madness was canceled, and that was like the beginning of knowing that this COVID thing is real, and it's had an impact on sports. And then fans were taken from the stadiums, and we saw the impact that they have on sports. Fans have come back into the stadium. They've lost their everlasting mind.
I forgot how to act.
Down in D.C., you got guys running onto the court. Trae Young, Trae Young, that one, brings me back to the last episode we had in terms of try Jesus, not me, because I fight. Don't spit on me, but Trae Young and all his light-skinned wisdom is not that upset about it. But Trae Young got spit on in the garden. You got Russell Westbrook, who has never shied away from a fight, gets popcorn thrown on his head while injured. He healed right away.
He healed miraculously.
Miraculously. Boy, they put that ointment oil on him because he did not like the fact that man put popcorn on his head. Bradley Beal, I think, had the quote of the year when it comes to these fans. He says, come on out if you want to, because these hands work. He believes in that saying, try Jesus, not me. John Morant said in Utah that his family was on the wrong end of what might be racial slurs. So I ask whether or not there's going to be a formal or informal or some suggested retirement of the fans. Do we have to take away courtside seats? Do we have to prosecute? I know in the case where the fan threw, and we're going to get to him last, a fan threw a bottle at Kyrie after he stumped on the logo. A logo is just a logo, y'all. Y'all stop taking it serious. Kendrick Perkins and KG, well, Kendrick Perkins didn't defend the person who threw the bottle. But KG and Big Baby Davis essentially stood up for the fan because they said Kyrie went out of bounds and went too far by stomping on a freaking logo at what used to be the Garden. Do we have to kind of move the fans away a little bit further? I know we've had instances when a big game, fans have rushed the field and you do feel threatened. Is there a moment right now for us to kind of revision what the fans and the interactions between fan and player looks like, because they are not protecting the players when these instances happen?
Okay, years ago they made the decision to move the camera when somebody rushes the field because they thought that encouraged the person to get on video, right?
Right.
So in NFL they always cut away. They don't want to show it. They don't want to give the guy the thing. Here's the mistake. When we were growing up, they used to whoop your everlasting butt when they caught you. You see them yellow jackets coming in, like knees flying, kicking, elbows, dropping you down. And when they take you off, you do not. They show the camera. They always look like they had regret. Blood coming,
lump eye,
big ass eye. I think you need to sign a waiver when you go to an NFL game or NBA game or any game that says, if I do anything to the player or interrupt this game, I give up my rights to safety where they could whoop your ass. So I would sign it because I'm not going to do nothing, right? If you want to come to this game and you act a fool, we are going to whoop your ass, right? And you're signing away any rights to sue. Because I think a lot of these punk ass dudes are thinking, I'm going to try to get this guy. I'm trying to bait this guy so I can sue him.
Right.
You should forfeit that right. You come back down, and if they beat your ass on TV it doesn't look appealing to him anymore. Man, they whooped his
Yeah.
ass. And then the TV said, the guy said, hey, and he had to sign a waiver that when he came on the court, if he acted a fool, we could whoop his ever-loving ass.
It
and
became the
nobody could do
UFC,
nothing.
MMA, UFC fight.
Whoop his ass. Put somebody in a headlock and drag him out of there. They'll stop
Pretty
doing
cool,
it, though.
man.
Because
That's
everyone's
pretty cool.
tough now because they're protected by the law.
Entitled. They entitled. Well, we think of the Malice in the Palace, and we always talk about the players, right? The Steven Jacksons and the Meta World Peace, a.k.a. Ron Artest of the world, and their role in the Malice in the Palace. But the truth of the matter is that had the fan not thrown the water on to, at that point, I think he was still Ron Artest, had he not thrown the water at him, the Malice in the Palace never happens. There's a sense of entitlement that the fans have, and I don't know why. I think the NBA, especially, has done a disservice to their players by giving the fans that level of entitlement, because you do feel as though, what was the lyric? Sweat from the referee. I think that was a Jay-Z lyric. But if you're that close to the action on the floor, you start to feel as though you're a part of the action. And I think fans don't know where to draw the line. So hopefully the NBA specifically they did arrest and charge the fan in Boston who threw the bottle at Kyrie Irving. I think there's got to be more of it. But that sense of entitlement, that sense of nothing's going to happen to me, fans, get a grip. We got to retire that sense of entitlement, because the players should be protected. You go to perform. You don't go to be on the wrong end of somebody's ignorance. But now, that entitlement to me, I think connects us to this next retirement story.
That was going to be my question. Where does the story? Where does the line? Is it language? Is it physical? What is it? Where is the line for you?
For me, you ain't spitting on me. I'm fighting.
Yeah,
I'm fighting. I'm cool with fighting. If you spit on me, and I think that's what you're signing up for. If you spit on me, the popcorn wouldn't have been a big deal to me. But that's Russell Westbrook. He's been looking for a fight.
He was madder at popcorn than I thought.
Yeah, every morning he wakes up, he wants to fight.
Yeah.
The racial issues in Utah. John Morant said that his family was on the wrong end of some verbal assault. To me, it's Utah, and that's sad. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. I know that people are ignorant enough to believe certain things. I got to see it over the last several years under the guise of politics a lot. We see it all the time. So that one, but you're not spitting on me. The water bottle, probably, as long as there's no water in it and it's not,
anytime you touch somebody, I think it's too much. I mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to fight over the popcorn. I want to see the dude thrown out in band. You throw the bottle. I mean, you're just not throwing trash on people, right? I mean, like, get out of here. Spitting is ridiculous. Spitting is the same as punching or slapping somebody to me. The language part of it, like I remember, what is his name? Vernon Maxwell, I believe years ago, somebody said something about his dead child. He wanted to kill the person, stomp him out. And I'm with him. If I'm on the jury, he's going to go.
Right.
Huh?
You understood why?
I mean, there's certain things I just think you start realizing that people are just such bad people. And you see the way that people react to taking a knee. You see some people are so jealous and hateful and mad at these people they idolize because they want them to be exactly who they want them to be. And they don't realize that they're human beings. It gets to be too much. But I think I know, going with the next story. I think some people can be tone deaf and blind to it. You know what I mean?
Before we get there, let me just say this. Because the NBA and the executives and the decision makers have a role and responsibility, but so do the players, because Trae Young has declined to press charges against the fan in New York who spit on him. I think the players also have a responsibility to one another to take measures to the fullest extent. And while I know Trae Young doesn't want to be wrapped up in any criminal investigation, doesn't need to sue the fan because
he doesn't want to be soft.
He's all right from a financial standpoint. He's doing all right. But I think that the players need to have a responsibility to one another to exercise the fullest extent of the law, their rights, to prevent other fans from doing it. And so other players in the future, right, have that deterrent in place.
Well, we're in a
Because
cancel culture. I think putting their
the
names out there, shaming them, letting them lose their job, embarrassing them in their place of business, everything. Like, you can't name all the people who do all these things to the fans. You never know their name. You never know anything. It's always handled.
Right.
So even if their life is ruined, we don't hear about it. It doesn't, stop the next person from wanting to do it because you never heard about whatever happened to him. You figure, nothing happened to him. He's fine. Nothing happened. Oh, no, he lost his job and his wife left him and his kids are calling somebody else dad now. So that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Nah, I agree. I think that we should also highlight how this has derailed their lives and be a part of derailing their lives, because I don't care how wrapped up I get into the action. I never think that it's rational to spit on somebody. That's just not rational to me. And if the shoe was on the other foot, if Trae Young accidentally spit on that doggone fan, he would be wrapped up in litigation and be sued. So I think that the players have a responsibility. But I'll transition quickly, because that sense of entitlement I think people get from messaging. And there is some messaging that happened over the last week. And it also has to do with Boston. Brad Stevens, who I think has been average, has had a lot of talent, but has not been able to get that talent over the hump. They haven't made it to a championship. That same Brad Stevens is now the president of operations in Boston. And in this episode, Retired by Choice, essentially they allowed him to retire from coaching by choice, I think. I also think that because they owe him so much money, by choice might be, hey, man.
Just do something.
Yeah, we're going to give you this seat.
Just, you know what, just run the program.
Right.
For some, since you can't coach anymore.
Yeah, Danny Ainge, same thing. The former president of operations. He did warn the organization that he was thinking about this, but he got to walk off into the sunset. But Danny Ainge too, because Danny Ainge is the other part of the coin, the flip side of the coin. Brad Stevens' lack of success is also a part of the Danny Ainge, the story of lack of success. Since the big three, KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, since that time, Boston Celtics have had a lot of talent and not a lot of success. Danny Ainge, if you look at a lot of his...
Went to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times.
Who cares? So did the Eagles. The Eagles made it to their conference championship. Like, making it to the conference championship is not our litmus test for success.
But, I mean, like, you're talking to a man who lives in a town that always has a lottery pick. So, make it to the conference finals, you guys are relevant. Disappoint every year. Relevant, but disappoint every year at the end. But I would have to say you look at his overall NBA. I mean, you think about most of these NBA coaches you look at in their career are average. They're 500, right? There are a couple games over 500. I don't know if somebody could pull up his overall record in the NBA, but I'd say for a guy who made the transition, from college to the NBA, I think, he's done okay. But I hear where you're going to go next. I can't wait to talk about the other part of the story.
Yeah, the other part of the story is simply like, when does that happen for the brothers? Like, you don't, if it doesn't, there's several parts. But the part I want to get to immediately is like, and I think Kendrick Perkins said it. It's like, that's just not happening to black coaches. They don't go from not being successful, and successful meaning winning a championship, right? Just winning a championship. So defining that as successful. So being unsuccessful with that goal, you don't go from that to then being the president of operations. The brother in Toronto, after winning Coach of the Year, got fired.
You can't come back. Doc Rivers
last year. And we saw it wasn't Doc Rivers. The Clippers underwhelmed again this year. And they are basically out. They got one more. They got their hand like this. It's going down. Not all the way down, but
and we'll say Doc Rivers built that Golden State, That's Doc Rivers, right?
Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson built Golden State. He's in the booth. Right? So that's what I'm saying, is that when you see the difference in how the transition happens, that whole retire by choice. There's a lot of coaches that got that tap on the shoulder. Even Monty Williams bounced around. Shout out to him. Congratulations on the Suns helping the Lakers this year to retire, not by choice, and in their year to go fishing. But even Monty Williams.
Monty Williams owns a fishing charter company, and he needed some new business, so he created some customers.
But look at what Monty Williams has gone through in order to get to where he's at as a coach. And that's my question. The Danny Ainge of the world, when things don't work, like the Kemba Walker signing, like Kyrie
Apologize for the background noise. My kitchen's not being. Can you hear that?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay, good.
But my ears are bad. It was something in the background I didn't hear. But it just rarely happens. And so Danny Ainge gets to leave on his terms. Brad Stevens sort of is failing up. Right? You now are the president of operations for the Boston Celtics.
It's like, did he even apply for the job, or did they just say, hey, we're just going to give you the whole show? All right, cool. Like, how does that conversation go? Hey, Brad, we don't think you should be coaching anymore. You failed miserably this year. You guys look terrible on the court, but, we figure we find a job for you. You run the whole fucking show. It's you. So this whole thing is yours. What?
Yeah.
What did he say in the meetings that made you feel like he could run the whole deal now?
The whole deal. But I think it's not necessarily what he said. It might just be the appearance. He's got an opportunity to prove me wrong. But it makes you wonder, man. The whole concept of retire by choice, and he failed up. So we'll see what happens. I never feel sorry for the Celtics.
Unless we're dancing around Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge turned out to be who we thought he was. He never heard of racism in his 26 years in the NBA. He's never heard any racism. He never want to hear anything from LeBron or what he says about politics. But it's okay for Popovich because, I respect that guy, whatever. Danny Ainge was a player when I was a kid growing up that you always thought was a racist jackass. You hated the way he played. Everyone, we want to see him punched in the face, which we luckily got to see a couple times. And I just basically showed it right here. He's tone deaf. And in this environment of what's going on, just to sit there and say something that's obnoxious. I've never seen racism in 26 years. You fucking nuts. You probably were the racist out here making all the comments when you were playing. So that guy, he's gone. Glad to see him gone. I hate to see his face. But he'll find a damn job, too. He's going to retire. He'll be in the booth. Now we're going to have to see him on TV, too.
Yeah, he probably will. He's probably already got a nice position secured. But just think about that. That's kind of laughable in itself. I've never seen 26 years. I've never seen any racism in basketball. How? He played in the 80s, bro. When you absolutely have seen racism. You absolutely have heard fans say things. You've absolutely witnessed different decisions made that had some race implications. If you don't want to call it racist, I think people just avoid the word racist. But Danny Ainge, like you said, he is who we thought he was. But he got to go off in the sunset on his own terms. But Danny Ainge is the quarterback behind what I would call the Gordon Hayward failure, the Kyrie Irving failure, the Kemba Walker failure. Now you had Brown was hurt a lot this year. So I'm not saying that I thought the Celtics were going to win the series because everyone knows that Brooklyn was coming in with a fully loaded Glock when it comes to talent. But they look overwhelmed. They look as though that they are not a very good team. And it seems that every single year for the last several years with that roster of young talent, he decided to move on. He being Danny Ainge decided to move on from Kyrie Irving and move to Kemba Walker. It has failed. Same with Brandon Hayward. He's failed a lot, but yet he gets to walk off in the sunset and chooses.
Well, he thinks this new NBA is not for him. He felt Kyrie disrespected the logo and the team didn't care enough. It didn't bother them enough. And he is from the era of the 80s where they like to fight and do everything like that. So he felt like these people don't care. Love and care and respect.
Putting your chin in the way of another man's fist ain't a fight. Danny Ainge ain't never fight nobody. He just got punched.
He ain't shy away though. Well, I said that. I hate him anyway. But you know what? Thank God. Let him be gone. All those people be gone. Die off. See what happens. I don't care.
Yeah, but it's a trip, man. When you see something like that, someone in such a prominent role say that he hasn't seen any racism, yet you see Brad Stevens get to fail up, and I won't call it racism, but I will call it privilege. That Brad Stevens is the president of basketball operations is privilege. Brad Stevens came from the college ranks to be in that role. So when you think of decision making, I don't immediately think Brad Stevens has that capability to be a decision maker on the NBA level. He was a coach.
Yeah, what job has he ever had that makes him prepared to do that? Ever?
And how many times have we said that? Same with Steve Nash. I had more coaching experience than Steve Nash because I coached the South Mountain YMCA Ducks before Steve Nash had a head coach.
2 city championships, right? I believe. You went to the city finals twice.
We went to the finals. But still, Steve Nash gets to be the coach of such a talented team. So I think it all has to do with in the way we cover it, the way the media covers the information is also it's slanted. And that's getting me to this next topic is the media's role in this next story was quite interesting. I think people have done an about face. They've done a 180 because mental health awareness is such a big pivotal part of our discussions these days. But Naomi Osaka decided that she didn't want to conduct interviews after her tennis matches in the French Open. And she was charged $15,000 the first time, which she was willing to pay because she talked about the anxiety that she feels in these interviews. But that wasn't enough. The French Open and the other Grand Slams threatened to take more action and maybe even have her forfeit games because of her position that she did not want to interact with the media. And it brings me to this last retired by choice because she essentially retired from the French Open, this year's French Open, one of the Grand Slam events. She retired from play, but not by choice. Technically, she chose to retire, but they sort of forced her into a no-win situation. Then you got idiots, and I'll call them that, idiots, like Piers Morgan, saying she's acting like a baby in this situation because her role, her responsibility is to avail herself to the media. We'll go out here on this note because, again, mental health awareness is important. And if there are things that cause you anxiety and depression, you should address them. Naomi Osaka was essentially addressing her mental health issue as it relates to the anxiety that these interviews cause her. Yet, the French Open, one of their spokespeople came out and said, I can't think of his exact title, but one of the higher-ups, the powers that be, in his interview says, I hope she gets well soon. Quick recovery. As though mental health is like a gash on your arm or a sprained ankle. Tone deaf as they can be, they allow us the opportunity to talk about Naomi Osaka and her retirement from this event. What did you think about it?
There's an issue that uncovers out here, and I think it's the same issue that we say with Danny Ainge, is that people lack empathy. You know, I have people that I argue with on a daily basis politically just to keep my brain tight and understand how people think. And they lack empathy because things don't happen to them, because they don't feel it and because they don't see it. They just think it just doesn't exist. It's a nuisance to them. Your problem is a nuisance to me. Me hearing about what you have to do is a nuisance to me because I'm not dealing with it. I wish you would just shut up. So Piers Morgan comes out and says she's a spoiled brat. She's this and she's that and whatever. You know, I used to get a lot of panic attacks, right? And anxiety attacks, something I deal with. And what I always try to tell somebody, I equate it to feeling like you're going to fall off the back of the chair. You know that feeling when you lean back and you go, oh, and it lasts for like an hour, and that wears on you. And when you're in that feeling, there's nothing more than you would want to stop it. And so people who've never had anxiety attacks, I talk to about it, you have the situation, they're like, oh, okay. And they, in their mind, they think of the brief moment when they're about to fall off the chair, and they're like, okay, it's not that big of a deal, right? They never dealt with it. And so when you think about Naomi Osaka, who's got a lot of money, but she still was like, I'll pay you $15,000 not to do this interview. Just imagine this, someone saying to you right now, if you don't suffer from anxiety, you don't have any issues, and said, you can either answer questions to these strangers for like 3 minutes or give me $15,000. And the person said, I would give you the $15,000 not to do it. That's not a spoiled brat. That's somebody who's going through something. You know what I mean? You know, when you look at suicide, you think, I can't believe somebody would kill themselves. That's so selfish. Now think about it like this. As much as you want to be alive, as much as I want to be alive, they decided I no longer want to be alive. It's not worth trying to get through it. I want to kill myself. I think people need to realize is just because you've never gone through that situation, you know, or because you've never gone through the situation, you have to realize you don't understand what is going through somebody's mind.
Right. If
she's playing in the game and she's done, and when it's over, it works her so much. You got to look at some of these people. God doesn't give you 100% everything. Like I always think about making, like you make a character in a video game, right? You can't add everything to 100%. You got to go 100 here, 80. They only give you so many points to step around. So when you make somebody so great, like a Naomi Osaka, great tennis player, great do whatever, there's going to be some deficiencies in other parts of her life because you just can't be perfect at everything. And this is one of her deficiencies that she has a struggle with, and she's being honest about it. And the backlash for people who don't have any idea what they're talking about, any idea what she's feeling, going through, to go out there and speak out negatively about something they obviously don't understand, it just shows you the tone deafness of the society right now and how polarized we are as a society. Is people they can only see the problems that affect them. They can only see the stuff that's on them, and everything else is just noise to them. So, you know, Piers Morgan, he can kiss my grits, because I mean, Meghan Markle, same thing. He always got something to say, and it's always some tone deaf thing that's just about him. So I don't even know why they keep talking to that goofy dude. I think he was on one of them America Got Talent shows or something like that before. He's on something goofy. You need to go back.
He's been on a lot of goofy stuff, but the goofy statement related to Naomi Osaka, I think, is when you're taking it too far. And other pundits have said it. I mean, the French Open and those decision makers, and the other Grand Opens, the other decision makers that have gone out and basically said the Grand Slam and participating in these events requires you to avail yourself to the media, and have looked at it through that narrow prism, have essentially taken the humanity out of the conversation. She's a person. And that particular thing, speaking to the media, does something to a person that is real. We've seen her get emotional and cry. We saw her after she beat Serena for the first time. I love her interviews because they're so candid and they're so real. But knowing that she is going through what is essentially torture in order to conduct the interview makes me feel some type of way. Is that I got to get over myself and realize that, you know, my entertainment is not more important than her peace of mind, her mental health, her feeling at ease versus feeling anxious and depressed. And I hope that not only the French Open, not only the other Grand Slam events, not only all the other events in tennis, but I hope that we all in sports can just start realizing and acknowledging that these are human beings. These are human beings. I loved of the responses. I love Venus, who basically was like, y'all are never going to be me. The way I approach it is I'm answering questions to a whole bunch of people that can never beat me at what I do. You have never been as good as me, and you will never be as good as me. That level of bravado, some of us have that, and we bring to the situation. Naomi Osaka, respectfully, comes with a lot more humility. And that humility, I think, has caused her that anxiety, because sometimes, when they say nice guys finish last, she is so nice, she is so honest and so candid that it gives her anxiety that people are going to use her words and create a story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess it just sort of, the whole concept of retire by choice also makes me think of, is it time to retire post-match, post-games, post-event interviews? Because you haven't had enough time to cool off. You haven't had enough time to analyze. Is it finally time to retire them? I'll give you last words as we get out of here. It's been a great week, but this whole idea, we got to rethink whether or not fans should be courtside because they acting crazy. But this Naomi Osaka story makes me think maybe we got to reimagine what the interview with the player, or whether it be tennis, basketball, football, with the athlete, do we have to reimagine its role and maybe its timing? Because I'm assuming other people have issues with the anxiety that moment creates. I'll give you last word before we get
I would say no. I would say no. We don't have to rethink it completely. I think you just got to go case by case sometimes and give people a little bit of a pass, a little wiggle room. I don't think Naomi Osaka was saying I'm never going to talk to the media again. I think she was in a bad place mentally and she just needed to kind of figure it out. They charged her the $15,000. She's going to do it. All right. I think you sit down and talk with her and say, all right, we're going to give you this pass, but obviously this is a spectator sport. We're going to have to try to figure out something that's going to make you a little feel more comfortable and work through it. I think that, she reached out. I'm sure that Venus would have been happy to talk to her at some point had this problem been arisen. Maybe, I don't know if they knew about it before and gave her that. I did the same thing. I'm in sales. And when I used to get nervous before a meeting, I always realized, well, they called me in here because they don't know. They have a problem. So whatever I say, they think I know more about it than them. So if I'm wrong, I come back, send an email, and tell them I was wrong. And that's how I got over it. Almost the same thing as Venus. Like, I know more about it than they do. So that's one of those things. People have real.
And people hate that response too. People are tearing Venus up now with her response.
Yeah,
Rocket Ishmael, who was one of the best college football players of all time, said that he would go back there even as a freshman and be able to catch the punt because he would think, even if I drop it, my mama's still going to love me the same. So basically saying, y'all don't matter, fans. You don't matter, media, because the people that matter most to me are going to like me whether or not I catch this punt. LeBron James, after the loss in, I think it was Miami, he was like, all y'all want to write these things about me, but when you wake up tomorrow, your life is still going to be the same and mine is still going to be the same. And people have issue with that. So it's like lose-lose.
Yeah.
Can you
you just got to go through
Naomi Osaka internalizes it. Yeah. It matters to her that she is pleasing or displeasing this community of people, the media. And that's not good enough. It's like either way, either extreme, the media has issue with it.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, fuck them.
Yeah, I like that. And with that, look, y'all, it has been the Retired by Choice episode. We dealt with a lot of good topics. LeBron and AD, is he going to retire? Well, we didn't get to Rich Paul, the agent of AD and LeBron, said that in his experience, white players don't want black agents. We're going to get to that maybe another week. I thought that was
black
juicy.
Players don't want the black agents, so I think that's the issue we could talk about.
That's why I retired from the agency business, and it wasn't by choice. I looked around like, this ain't working out. You can't get the white players, can't get the black players, because they looking at it like everything white is right.
Polynesians, they're untapped.
That's what I should have done. Samoans. We talked about Coach K retiring, the players being under assault by the fans of the NBA. Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens. We talked about Naomi Osaka. It's been a great week. Like we ask you every week, humbly, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. I know you got a big day today. I won't announce what it is, but I know
my son's got his official visit to Northwestern. Everybody downstairs waiting on me right now. We're going to get out there, enjoy our weekend to my son's home for the next 4 years.
Shout out to him, man. Congratulations to you and your family. It has been the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mountain South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, here with the Big Flow Show. And we officially, I got to say it one more time, like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, subscribe in the podcast universe. Now we are officially at the point where we can say, we's out. Peace. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.